rights, huh?
That's what my husband thought.
And he's an expert in these matters.
Well, no.
Didn't think so. Well, I'm glad you called me. No room for amateurs in this game.
Honey, we're in the living room. We need you to kill a spider.
Would anybody object if I tore this floor out?
I would.
False alarm, then. Lead on.
I think one of your Venezuelan spiders hitched a ride here. There may be some spiders around here that are very dangerous.
Don't McClintock, infestation management.
Because just a spot.
I believe that's a spider bite.
I didn't find a thing. Go figure.
Good evening. Welcome to this week's edition of the WayBack Movies Podcast, a show where we review the best and not so best of 80s and 90s cinema, because really, fuck the 2000s. My name is Steve, and with me on this crazy journey...
Justin?
Doctor?
Doctor?
You sure about that?
Nah. Brain fart.
Yeah. And I'm the one who's supposed to be exhausted. All right.
Well, I'm just coming off of 6 straight days, so I'm tired too.
That's true. That's true. Well, yeah, in a few weeks, wait till you hear me.
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing about 21 days straight. Yeah.
Christmas time, when you work at a toy store.
Yeah. It's going to be horrible. So, a lot of those episodes in November are going to be a lot of fun with me, folks. So, enjoy is all I could say. You can watch a man slowly fall apart, or listen to a man slowly fall apart before your very ears. That'll be what happens. But, that'll be in a few weeks from now. But this week, we are talking about a movie that scares the shit out of so many people. And I don't get it.
Well, because you're not one of them.
I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of them. So, of course, we are talking about Arachnophobia from July 18th, 1990. Again, a movie that scares, like I've heard so many people tell me how scary this movie was before I ever saw it. And, like, when I was a kid, everyone's like, oh my god, Arachnophobia is the scariest movie ever. And I remember watching it going, the fuck's so scary? Like, I'm not afraid of spiders.
If you're definitely afraid of spiders,
I guess.
I could see this movie being like, just... Ugh.
I guess, but there's so many comical... I mean, it's a comedy as well, or as they call it, a thrillamedy. We'll get to that. It's very strange how much people are afraid of this, but I don't know. But with that being said, let us go back to July 18th, 1990. Okay, here we are. July 18th, 1990. I'm a couple weeks away from turning 8. You know.
A day away from turning 2.
Yep.
So I did not see this in the theaters.
Neither did I. But I do remember seeing the trailers when everyone tells me, oh my god, that's going to be the scariest movie ever. So, yeah. And then this became such a notorious movie for me as a kid. I put it up there with, like, all the other horror movies, like Candyman and shit like that, like, all these scary things, and I was like, oh no, Arachnophobia, because everyone's like, oh, it's so scary. Spoiler alert, it's fucking not.
No, it's a lot less scary than the movie with the hooked hand killer who guts people.
Yeah, this is a little bit tame, because it's almost a family comedy.
Yeah, I noticed over the course of this October, our movies have been a lot more tamer than last October.
Yeah, I swear, I mean, aside from
wasn't intentional.
No, but aside from a handful of horror movies I plan to sprinkle out through the rest of the year, next October, we're going fucking hardcore.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure of it. We gotta go fucking hit them hard, hit them fast.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta pick something that's gonna just fuck people up.
I got a rep to maintain here.
I do, man. I'm the horror guy.
I got no time for this family-friendly Jeff Daniels gobbledygook.
Like, Jesus, like, I'm the horror guy, and I'm known for, like, having the weird, like, obscure horror films, and we're bringing out the fucking stuff. Like, that's not scaring anyone, you know what I mean?
Well, this one's kind of scaring
This
some.
one scares people, I guess, so I guess this can keep my cred, even though I'm watching it going, this is just hilarious. But that's just me. But let's get into it. So, Arachnophobia, July 18th, 1990, directed by Frank Marshall, screenplay by Wesley Strick, that fucking guy again, and Don Jacoby. That man works a lot, Wesley Strick. Some good, mostly bad.
Well, when you work a lot,
Yeah.
take a lot of swings, you're getting a lot of strikes.
Yeah, he misses a lot. I'm pretty confident he's the one who wrote the fucking Nightmare on Elm Street remake. So, fuck that guy.
So you're already like,
fuck that guy.
he's made the list.
He really has. Story by Dan Jacoby and Al Williams. Produced by Kathleen Kennedy, who is a name that will pop up a lot. And Richard Vane. Production company, Hollywood Pictures, Amblin Entertainment, Tangled Web Productions. See what they did there? Distributed by Buena Vista Pictures. Box office of $53.2 million against a budget of $22 million. Kind of successful.
Yeah.
Successful enough. Definitely did more on video.
Yeah, it made its money back and then some.
Yeah, this was a massive fucking rental, so I'm sure it made a lot of money on video. So the cast, rather large, because I'd forgotten the whole fucking movie, so I just put every fucking cast member I could find.
Yep.
Because I did not remember anyone. I'm not gonna lie, it's been 20 years since I've seen this movie. Jeff Daniels is Dr. Ross Jennings, Harley Jane Kozak is Molly Jennings, John Goodman as Delbert McClintock, Julian Sands is Dr. James Atherton, Brian McNamara is Chris Collins, James Handy is Milton Briggs, Peter Jason is Henry Beechwood, Henry Jones is Dr. Sam Metcalf, Frances Bay is Evelyn Metcalf, Roy Brocksmith is Irv Kendall, Kathy Kinney is Blair Kendall, Stuart Pankin is Sheriff Lloyd Parsons, Mary Carver is Margaret Hollins, and Marlene Katz is Shelley Jennings. And that's the cast.
It's kind of shitty that the boy, Jennings, doesn't get a name.
He didn't really
doesn't
say
get a name.
much.
Shelley doesn't. I mean, I guess Shelley's got
She
more
had
scenes.
a scene.
She's got at least a scene.
His scenes were mostly just like, oh my god. Like, really didn't say much of anything, really.
So you don't get a credit, kid.
He might not have.
That's fair.
It's entirely possible. Because if his shit was ADR'd, they wouldn't have to pay him royalties. We've been through this. So the production of this movie, Marshall meant for the film to be like Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds, and added, people like to be scared but laughing, like a roller coaster. No one wants to be terrified. That's not true. That's just absolutely not true.
Patently untrue.
Yes, people love to be scared at horror films. The film also has similarities with the 1977 film Kingdom of the Spiders. Producer Ego Cantor hinted in a Fangoria interview that Arachnophobia, which Spielberg produced, bears several similarities to it, saying, I thought it was a copy, but you don't go and sue Spielberg. It's true. You don't, because you'd lose.
He's got New York lawyers.
Yeah, exactly. When Jeff Daniels came on board to play Dr. Ross Jennings, the film was a serious horror movie.
And you cast the other guy from Dumb and Dumber.
Well,
not
he
yet.
hadn't done it yet. It was 4 years off.
To be fair,
he was 4 years off.
He wasn't. Yeah, okay.
Although I don't think he was ever a serious actor, though.
No.
Because I remember, I think another movie he did this year was another comedic thing.
With his news show that he was doing.
Well, he was also trying to avoid being typecast as comedy, so he kind of skewed the fuck away from it for a very long time after Dumb and Dumber. We'll get there, and I'll explain why when we get there one day. One that, so it was a serious horror film, one that Daniels told Philadelphia's Daily News was pretty formulaic. You could tell that the lines were kind of written by a computer, he said. He and Frank Marshall were hoping for a more ironic tone, so the script went through several revisions to get the tone right. One key change, Daniels' character was given a fear of spiders. How is that not in the original?
Yeah.
Like, even if you're going for a straight-up horror film, you have to have a character that is completely terrified of spiders.
Maybe in the original script, the lead of the picture was this heroic, I will fight the spiders.
Or maybe it was the wife. If we're going formulaic horror, you always have the woman as the final girl, right? So maybe he was originally a bit part, and then they're like, well, we got Jeff Daniels, who's somewhat of a name. Let's maybe beef his part up. The movie was actually filmed in southern Venezuela for the intro sequence and the jungle scenes. No movie had filmed there before, and getting to it was hard work. I cannot pronounce this word, Tepuis, Tepuis, maybe? Rise out of the rainforest is almost 10,000 feet. They set up base camp in a location that was meant for one-night stays, and stayed for 4 weeks. Flying in all the necessary equipment and food. They used 5 helicopters to fly up the mountains every day. Marshall said because they were so high up, they're right in the cloud bank, so the weather was always changing. Some days I would just get one take. Not one scene, one take. And it would be an hour before the sun came out again.
That's a lot of work for 20 minutes of film, guys.
Yeah. And
This movie takes place in Venezuela for 20 minutes.
Yeah. And honestly, it took place in Venezuela for 20 minutes too fucking long.
Yeah.
That was a very long opening sequence that didn't need to be that long. There was one day we were trapped for the whole day. We had actually built the survival camp, and 15 minutes before we were going to be stuck all night, the clouds opened up. Abandoning their equipment, the cast and crew jumped into a helicopter and just got out in time. It was kind of exciting.
Making an adventure pick.
Yeah. They also filmed in Cambria, California. All the school scenes were filmed at Coast Union High School. Students and staff were used in the football scenes and group events. The locker room and players were actual students and players.
Well, you saved money that way.
Yeah. I feel like there might have been a crime committed, though, with that scene in the locker room. They were probably wearing shorts underneath.
I would imagine, yes.
Yeah, because, I mean, he didn't see anything, thankfully.
During an interview with GQ, John Goodman let slip that while filming a long shot of his character driving the exterminator truck, producer Steven Spielberg sat at the passenger side footwell out of view of the camera and quipped to John Goodman, "Only we will know I was here."
Jesus. Why is that so ominous?
I love the idea that that's how Spielberg thinks. He's like, we're filming this scene, and
no one will know
and no one will know I'm here.
Spielberg was in actually in this scene.
That might be my favorite thing I've ever heard about Steven Spielberg. that was a fucking thing for him. Oh.
Well, next to him almost being that close to being in Mortal Kombat.
That too.
That close.
That's pretty damn good too. Frank Marshall saved the shooting of the film's climactic fight scene between Jennings and the general unit until the very end of production. After all the other actors had been sent home, the scene, which involved fire explosions and many smashed bottles of wine, took 2 weeks of 13-hour days to shoot. Daniel spent 2 of those days pinned under a 250-pound wine rack, hurling bottles of wine at Big Bob, while under strict instructions not to hit the spider, and in fact, always missing it by 3 feet or more. Good.
Jeff, don't kill the spider. We don't need the PETA people after us.
Yeah. There's actually a website I found whilst doing the research for this that literally is like, was this movie cruel to animals? And like, this was not.
Yeah.
They were not cruel to any spiders.
No spiders were harmed in the making of this picture.
I will get to that, actually, but in a few minutes. Sheriff Parsons leaves the Jennings barn to drive back to the mortuary and is not seen again.
Yeah, that's true.
Stuart Pankin stated in an interview that his character was killed by a spider while driving and crashed his cruiser. The scene was filmed but didn't make it into the final cut of the film. We got 20 minutes of the fucking opening scene, but we couldn't spend a couple on the death of this guy that you totally wanted dead.
Yeah.
Seems kind of messed up, guys.
There's some other characters that kind of just bugger off and don't come back.
Yeah, and you're like, there's a couple of them that I would like to see dead. To create the sound effects of spiders being stepped or squished, Foley artists stepped on mustard packs or squished potato chips. Apparently the original ending was going to be a reference to the birds. Daniels told the Orlando Sentinel in 1990, "There was one ending where we were standing outside after it's all over like, wow, we're okay, and the family is all right. All of a sudden one bird lands on a swing set, then another, and we just turn and look. I think Spielberg was the one who said, let's not do that. Let's just make this our own thing."
It's a family picture.
Mm-hmm. It's a good choice. Now, let's talk about some fucking spiders. Spiders in the film were managed and handled by famed entomologist Stephen R. Kutcher. Apparently he's famed. I've never heard of him in my life.
They call him the Spider-Man!
He's a spider, yeah. Then Marvel fucking sued somebody. Frank Marshall and his team evaluated a number of species, including wolf spiders, tarantulas, and huntsman spiders, by putting them through what he called, quote, Spider Olympics, running each species through 10 tests, including speed, the faster the spider, the scarier it is,
I'd pay to see
climbing
that.
ability, and reaction to heat and cold. That'd be awesome.
Well,
I mean, that would be what the footage, you'd have to play the fucking Spider-Man theme, yeah, of course. The spiders used in the film were Avondale spiders, or Delina canceritis, Latin, a harmless species from New Zealand that were provided by Landcare Research in Auckland. Despite their fierce appearance, the spider is a docile member of the crab spider family and is, in fact, harmless to humans. Marshall joked that we got them all little passports, which was sort of true.
The production did have to jump through hoops to bring 300 of the spiders to the U.S. for filming, and that was just the initial shipment. Supplies were replenished every 2 weeks.
I just want to see them going through customs, and then the little spider has to give the